chapter, looking at the 11th verse, it's talking about the parable of the lost son. Then he said, a certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falls to me. So he divided to them his livelihood. Verse 13, and not many days after, the younger son gathered all together, journeyed to the far country, and there wasted his possessions with prodigal living. Prodigal living means wasteful. Verse 14, but when he had spent all, there arose a severe famine in that land, and he began to be in want. See, you understand, when you're out there in the world and you're doing different things, because you have the world of the lust of the things of the world, you begin to want things, and you begin to desire things. It's not like God. So he went out, his dad gave him his livelihood and his livestock, but when he went out, he wasted all that his dad had given him on prodigal living. But when he spent all those, when there arose a severe famine in the land, and began to be in want. Verse 15, then he went and journeyed himself to a citizen of that country, and sent to him the fields to feed the swine. So at that city, he joined to that city as a citizen, and they made him go feed the swines, feed the pigs, and after the swine and stuff. Verse 16, and he would gather, fill his stomach with the ponds that the swine ate, and no one gave him anything. When you become of the world, you desire the things of the world. So he was so hungry and in need, he went out to feed the pigs and was beginning to want what they were eating, the slop and stuff. And that's what it's talking about. Verse 17. But when he came to himself, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have bread enough and to spare? So he began to come to himself. Sometimes when you're out in the world, you want worldly things. You're not yourself. Once you become to yourself, you desire the things of God. So he became to himself, and he knew he wasn't supposed to be out there. And he thought about, well, my daddy and mama got this at home, so therefore, I know he got the service that he have food there. He have all kind of things there. So he thought about it, and he said, I perish to be hungry. At that moment, he began to be hungry. But he knew when he left home, his daddy had cows and calf and everything that he wanted, that he desired. Verse 18. And he arise and go to his father, and would say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. So he went back home. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going to give you my text in a minute. And I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. So he knew he did wrong by his father when he left. And he went back to his father and told his father, not worthy to be called your son or your servant. So he told him not make him one of his hired servants. He wanted him to make him like his father made his servants the same way. So verse 20. And he arose and came to his father, but when he was still to a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. So when his father seen him coming afar off, his father had compassion, had love for his son. Then his son came back home. So he ran and hugged his son. Verse 21. And the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in your sight, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But then verse 22, but the father said to his servants, bring out the best robe and put it on him. Think about it. He wanted him to bring out the best robe. But these days, you think about the designer clothes. You look at it in today's from 2009, think about the designer clothes. And my brother Sean came back home, I did probably give him a pair of Jordans and a nice Stacey Adams suit. Think about that. Verse 23. And bring the fattest calf here and kill it. Think about the steak. Think about the steak we eat every day. Think about that rare and well steak we eat every day. 2009. And let us eat and be merry. He wanted them to eat and be merry. He wanted them to be happy. And he wanted him to, I'm going to go back to verse 22. It's another part of that. Bring out the best robe and put it on him. And put a ring on his hand and sandals on his feet. Think about today. Think about the Air Jordans and the Air Forces and the Echo. Think about that. And bring the fattest calf here and kill it. And let us eat and be merry. Verse 24. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and now he is found. My text is called the old meat is dead and gone. Let's pray. Father God, we come to you as almost we know how, God. We give you the glory that you deserve, Father. Father, we ask you to touch your people, Father. Touch me to step out and step and let you have your way, God. That I may say something to encourage your people, Father. We thank you for the ones who travel on the dangerous highways and byways, God, to come to the house of God, Father. Through the rain and through everything that came against them, Father, we thank you for letting them come into the house of the Lord, God. Father, we ask you to bless this house, God. Bless the leaders of this house, God. And bless everyone that came forward, God. You may be a blessing to them, that I may be a blessing to them as well, God. Speaking your word for Christ's sake. forever and ever. Let the Redeemer say amen.
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 And amen. The old me is dead and gone. Think about that. Verse 25. Now his old son was in the field, and as he drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. He probably heard Ty Tribbett. He probably heard Jay Moss. He probably heard all these people, all these singing and praising God. So the older son was like, what's going on? Where are this coming from? What is this? This is jealousy. This is where jealousy coming in. He said, call one of the servants and ask what these things meant. So he wanted to know what was going on. Verse 27. And he said to him, your brother has come, and because he has received him safe and sound, your father has killed the fattest calf. Verse 28. But he was angry and could not go in. He was upset because he was there with his father so long time, being there with his father. He got upset because his father had killed the fattest calf and gave him a nice robe, gave him nice sandals. He was jealous. He didn't like that. So this is where jealousy come in at. So it says in verse 29, so he answered and said to his father, lo, these many years I have been serving you. I never transgressed or commanded anything at any time, and yet you never gave me a young goat that I may make merry with my friends. But as soon as this son of yours comes, who has devoured your livelihood, that means to destroy, to waste. And with hurlers means prostitute. He went out there and spent all his heritage, his money on things of the world. So when he come back home, that's why it's called a prodigal son. When he come back home, his brother's upset that he's coming back home and that his daddy is giving him all these lively things, the goats and everything else. So he's jealous about it. Verse 31, and he said to him, son, you are always with me, and all that I have is yours. It was right that we should make merry and be glad, for your brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is found. I think about Isaiah, tell me about Isaiah, the 43rd chapter. Isaiah 43rd, 18 to 19th verse. It's talking about the old become old and all new things become new.